I'm Jonathan Tessier, and we're back here with another one of our Wellness Wisdom episodes. And today, we're going to be looking at gut health and your microbiome. And I'm here with Rebecca, of course, as always. So how are you doing, Rebecca?
I'm good. How are you this morning?
I'm doing pretty well. How's your gut feeling?
Good. Feels good this morning. I gave it some good, healthy prebiotics. We'll talk about those.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. So tell me, what is the microbiome?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we hear a lot about probiotics, but like, what does that mean? And what is the microbiome? And what does it do for us? And why do we want to treat it so good? And hopefully we can teach you all of those things today. But basically your microbiome is a community, or probably multiple communities of microbes. And it's everywhere. So we mostly think of your gut microbiome for the most part. Most of those microbes are concentrated in your large intestine and your colon. But we have a microbiome all over our body, on our skin, in our nose, in our mouth, all over the body. So bacteria, these good bacteria that really are our friends. You just want to kind of keep them in balance and keep them working for us instead of against us.
Yeah, so, people always say, like, I have a gut feeling about that, or like, I trust my gut. So why is gut health so important?
That's a great question. And they're calling our gut basically our second brain. Like, I think a lot of us have probably heard the statistics so far that 90% of serotonin, which is one of our happy hormones, is produced actually in the gut, not in the brain. And that is true of a lot of neurotransmitters are actually produced in our gut instead of our brain. And neurotransmitters send lots of different messages. The ones we like the most are, of course, the ones that give us that like dopamine and serotonin, those kind of happy, calming hormones. So gut health does a lot of different things. It has an impact on, of course, our brain health, but also our inflammation, on our mood, on our immunity is a really big one. I think when we think of probiotics, a lot of times we're trying to make ourselves more resistant to like infections and viruses that are out there too. So gut health touches, a little bit of everything. And when we can make sure that it's healthy and well supported, like we really do see the results of that. Better digestion, better resistance, like I said, to these viruses and bacteria, better mood, which we all want. So it really, extends pretty far.
Absolutely. So we all know that prebiotics might be something that help your gut, but there's more than prebiotics. So what are postbiotics?
Postbiotics, yeah. So you've got your prebiotics, your probiotics. So your prebiotics are your food for your probiotics. So prebiotics plus probiotics equal postbiotics. Okay. And so when you're feeding these good bacteria, they produce these great things for us. So lots of different things. So for example, short chain fatty acids, which do lots of different things in the body. Butyrate is one really good example. Your B vitamins, vitamin K, for an example, are produced by feeding your probiotics. They give us these postbiotics. So lots of different benefits to those two, supporting that equation.
Right. Okay. So, and that's all about your microbes in your gut and everything. So what exactly do those microbes do?
Yeah, a lot. I think we probably have only kind of got the tip of the iceberg of what's been studied so far. But yeah, these microbes support us in lots of different ways. It's really interesting that they unlock a lot of our nutrients for us. So when we get into talking about fermentation, we can get into that a little bit more. But these microbes, so your stomach acid is helping you break things down, but it's getting a little bit further. Like I said, a lot of your bacteria is concentrated in your large intestine. So it's going to further break down in that large intestine. It's kind of fermenting in your large intestine, and they're unlocking these vitamins and nutrients for us. So that's one thing that the microbes do, but they also help support us to prevent infection, reduce inflammation, support our brain health.
So how often should we be eating fermented foods?
Every day.
Every day?
Yeah. Ideally, we're having, I would say, one serving on the side of every meal. We can talk about kind of how to build a plate. And maybe, I think I've talked about this before. I bet you I left out that little serving of a fermented food kind of on the side of your plate is a really good idea. And, you can really mix it up. Depending on, maybe you don't want kimchi for breakfast, but, that's where your yogurt can come in. And we've got a ton of different options for different fermented foods. And one thing you really want to look for, a couple things. You don't want too much sugar. And something to factor in, say, when you think of like kombucha, is it's going to have sugar in the label, but often a lot of that sugar has been eaten up by those bacteria. already. So it's not the same as like, say a tablespoon of sugar or whatever. But you also want to make sure that it's not pasteurized, because that's really killing a lot of those enzymes and those microbes that are present in fermented foods. So kind of look for unpasteurized on the label, or make sure it does not say pasteurized. That's where it's really nice. Often that will be in the fridge. There are some products on the shelf as well that are unpasteurized, but a lot of times those foods will be in the fridge.
So is there anything to be cautious about when eating fermented foods?
Yeah, if it's not something that you regularly consume, you definitely want to start small. You don't want to start off with a whole jar of yogurt or kimchi or whatever it may be. 1 to 2 tablespoons, even maybe starting with that per day, is a great way to start and introduce, and make sure you tolerate it well. Some people are really sensitive to histamine, and a lot of fermented foods are high in histamine. So if you know you have a histamine intolerance, that may not be the best kind of route to go. You may find that you have a little bit of a flare up that way. So starting small and being cautious of those things. And I always say, listen to your body, right? Be mindful. Like if it doesn't go so well, sometimes it could be that, you've had too much, but it could be that you're just not tolerating that either specific fermented food well, or fermented foods. And in that case, if you find that, it may be good to chat with a practitioner about what kind of might be going on in your gut.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think that's everything we have for today. But we always have so many fermented foods here at Joanne's Place, and we have so much educated associates who will let you know anything you need to know about gut health, and they can recommend many different products and all that kind of good stuff. So thanks for watching. We'll be back soon.
Thanks for joining.